Hi, everybody. Welcome to Conversations with Bizzy. I hope you enjoyed today's story. And if you do, please subscribe. Here we go. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Conversations with Bizzy. I know I say I'm so excited all the time, but I am really excited because Cathleen Beerkens is my guest today. And I just love Cathleen. I know you guys have heard from Cathleen before. I think a couple years ago, she was on. And it is such a pleasure to have you here. Hi, Kathleen.
Hi, Bizzy. So nice to have you. I mean, I'm so happy to be with you and be on your program. And again, to, just see you again. I've missed you.
I've missed you. It has been so great knowing Kathleen these years because, sometimes some of us feel like I have these feelings and I don't know if they're real and I don't know what's going on. And Kathleen always makes me feel like, okay, I'm not so crazy, right? I am open and I'm willing to feel things that, sometimes society says, poo poo, push it down.
Yeah.
Right?
We have, yeah, we all are challenged at this moment, like in many ways. And a lot of belief systems that we thought we believed in are being challenged, and there's a lot of chaos. So we have to constantly ask ourselves, okay, what do I really believe? And who am I? And what am I doing here on this planet? Like, honestly. So I think when we really, if we ask that and we really are willing to ask that, that's the first step.
I think it's beautiful. Okay, before I go on, you guys, I'm going to give you Kathleen's bio. Kathleen is a distinguished health educator, integrative health coach, and healing facilitator. She's renowned for her holistic approach to wellness. She's the founder of A Wellness Revolution, an institute based in Amsterdam, the Netherlands, dedicated to training health and wellness coaches, including myself, with an emphasis on the interconnectedness of body, mind, and spirit. And Kathleen is also, show us your book, the author of Your Creator Matrix: How to Use Optimal Wellness and Quantum Healing to Master Your Story and Create Your Reality. It was published in April of 2024. The book explores concepts such as consciousness, quantum mechanics, epigenetics, and the impact of emotions and belief systems on cellular health and DNA expression. And she's up for some awards for the most thought-provoking book of 2024, which is so amazing. And again, you guys, I'm like, yay, she's here. And what you just said, and I want to go back to that because I have a dear friend that said to me today, she actually said it to me today. She goes, do you ever have the question, who are you?
Yeah. That's a good question, isn't it? It really is. Like we have to get asked that question. If we don't ask that question, we never really know why we're here, and we are not in contact with what we're supposed to do. And actually, I believe every soul is unique and very special and has a divine purpose here to learn a lot on this planet. It's like this planet is a planet of lessons to help our evolution. And we play these stories out all the time. We are in stories, whatever storyline it is, whether you're in a job you're not necessarily happy with, or you're having issues in your family, or your health issues, or whatever challenges we're getting are our points of growth to overcome them so that we can realize that we create our reality literally. Like, we are so powerful, but we're not taught like that. We're not told who we really are. So this is like when we're born here as babies on this planet, we've kind of gone into a deep sleep of who we really are. And that's the, in a way, exciting part, because we get to define ourselves uniquely in a certain time, a story, to grow and experience things. It's really actually quite awesome that we can experience all of this. And even the hard things are amazing because they teach us so much. But if we're not going to ask the questions, it's like we didn't learn the lesson.
How are you so gifted at everything you do? You
Busy.
you were a nurse at Georgetown too. I forgot to mention that in your bio. So you were a nurse at Georgetown,
Yeah,
and then where did life take you that you ended up writing this book and living in the Netherlands? And you have
I know.
3 babies, which are now adults, and she's almost going to be a grandmother in 8 months, which is so exciting.
I know.
How did your journey take you to Amsterdam and being able to communicate the way you do and be able to write a book about something that's so important to so many is being open and wanting to learn more.
Yeah, so the book, I actually tell my story. I tell my story in the sense that, yeah, I, like all of us, have had my challenges. So I started to tell the stories of having really big health issues with my children and myself. At the time when I thought I was from a family of all doctors and everything. And I actually thought I knew that medical system that I was from, and my family, my grandfather was a doctor, my uncles, my son, and I would probably could have been a doctor, but because I was one of 6 kids and I felt like really overwhelmed, I was the oldest. I didn't want to take all that energy I didn't feel like I could. So I became a nurse. It was actually harder for me. It would have been easier just giving out prescriptions, and everything. And then I had to listen to the pain of the people. I had to listen to their problems. But at the same time, I was having issues within a couple of years because I was pregnant. I had issues with this child. And so I take the reader on a journey of discovering what I discovered, that health was not linear, and that actually we have to really work on things here. We're multidimensional beings. We have an emotional body, we have a spirit. We are actually spirit in a body, so we are spiritual, even though people don't want to see that. Many people still believe we're just a physical body. That is not true. And that when our body dies, we just die. But quantum physics and all the sciences, which I've studied for like 25 years, they show us something different. It's like bridging the gap between spirituality and science, or religion and science. It's what we really kind of should have asked more questions about, but we didn't necessarily, because we were I would say we were kind of asleep. And now we're awakening. We're in this awakening process, humanity. And because we're in this awakening process, we can ask the questions, and we are. And these young kids who are being born, like they're like, under 30 or under 28, they're all different. They're asking a lot of questions that maybe we didn't even ask when we were young, because the planet was different. And now there's so much light on the planet and so much communication, it's so easy because we have these. When I was young, we didn't even have anything like this. We had one phone in the house with 6 kids, everyone running to get on that phone. Oh my gosh, it was awful. My brother was listening to my gossip as a teenager. I was like, da, da, da. And then he would be like, I heard everything you said. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. Yeah, when you think back at how technology has changed, and what I've learned is that we are creating our reality from our inner world, us, even if we're not aware of it, is programming. Is like not programming, is like reaching, is vibrating out to the universe and bringing us back what we are in alignment with. So whatever's going on inside is being reflected. So whatever storyline in your life is not making you happy or you're busy with, that's the inner story that's being reflected to you. So everything is a reflection to help you see it, so that you can say, oh, I don't want that anymore. How do I get over that? Because if you liked that, you would just be fine, right? But if you have a story that you don't like, then you're going to say, okay, how could I be a better creator to get the story to change? Like, I want to go a different route. I want to turn left, not right. I'm sick of the story. So this is where humanity is. They're asking, okay, I want the storyline to change. So how do I do that? And science is showing us how that happens. And in the book, I take you on a journey to discover what I discovered about how we can change our reality, but on all levels, not just our reality of financial or, our home life or our bad relationship or health or whatever it is, we can change anything. But we need to know how. And that's what we're waking up to.
It is it's such a profound thing for so many people to really actually like digest what you just said, right? Like
So hard.
it's so hard because we live in this, and my husband always says this. He goes, we live in this world that we think that the only things that can happen are A, B, C, and D, let's say, right? There's only those four
Belief,
options,
right.
right?
Yeah.
Those beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is it's infinite.
Yeah, because we limit it. So, like the first chapter here, well, I do give a little history of some things I realized about my own family because you learn a lot from your ancestors because in the end, you are a product also of their stories. Because what we're realizing is that the DNA is not just yours. You inherit all the stuff. So you can actually inherit belief systems. You can inherit like blocked emotions or storylines and repeat them because energy seeks resolution. Like we want to heal things. We don't want to keep going on with these same stories. We want to evolve, right? So the ancestral lines will keep bringing these storylines until they're resolved. So like you told your story on my channel about you're going through the alcohol. You had so many issues with alcohol and a habit of trying to kind of like, I love when you told your story because everyone has a unique story with whatever habit we get into, but it served you till it didn't. True.
True.
And then you said it doesn't serve me anymore. Well, this concept that we're not victims of our story, that we're not perpetrators, we don't have to be. We can play any storyline, and we have. Actually, we played every storyline. Every human has played the dark and the light. But we like to play the light. We like to be the hero saving everybody. That's the movie we like, right? The one where they win at the end and the hero gets everything and the guy gets the girl and whatever. We love those stories. But the thing is, we're everything. We're not just those stories. We're everything, which means we're also the villain. We're also the victim. We're also all of it. So we have to come to terms, humans have to come to terms with the fact that we played all those stories and that we have to integrate it now and say, okay, let's stop judging. Let's go, okay, we are all like on our path. Some are a little bit further, some not. But actually, we're all from the same universal field of love, God, whatever you want to call it. I call it God, but some people call it something else. But we're on this field. We're connected to that field of just infinite possibilities, what you just said. So, for instance, like this first chapter, my sister did 13 portraits. This is all magic realism. And this is a person painting, but it says you are creating your story. Like, do you realize that you are creating it? You're co-creating it with the universe, but you are creating it. So you're not a victim. You can change the story. The thing is, we know that. We know we can change the story. But it's so hard to do it because it requires that we do something different, that we think differently. And also requires that we grow emotionally, that we learn how to handle these emotions because emotions are beautiful, but they can be quite unsettling and we can get really stuck in them. And so in the book, I take you on a journey to discover which Bizzy, I taught you about the cells. We are just like a community of energy, actually. But these cells are like energetic little fields. They have their own intelligence. And we are programming them all day long. We are the mastermind behind the cells.
So when somebody says, I want to ask you this. So if somebody says, and I've had a couple people recently say, I wish, I went through this hard time and I wish I were still a good girl. I'm not a good girl anymore, but I want to be a good girl again. And it always makes me,
right? Yeah.
Right? It's a total belief. And it's just, and sometimes
where do you think they heard that, Bizzy?
From their mom.
Yeah, that's the point. So we say a lot of things to our children all day long, and we don't we're trying our best. Like, honestly, we're doing our best in this world. But right now, it's so chaotic to know what's true and what's not, because obviously what we used to think was true is not really true. And we used to think things were like set in stone, and they're not. We live in a world of, this universe is unstable. It's not like we think. It's changing every minute. Like, your thought changing will change your timeline that much. You know what? I say it like this in the new course I'm making. I'm making a new course on healing, self-healing.
Which I can't wait for, you guys. If
I,
you want to take a course with me and Kathleen, I'm signing up for it. I cannot wait till it starts. I'm like, sign me up right now. Here's my credit card.
you're literally going to learn a lot about how to heal yourself. But on this chessboard, imagine that you are a chess player. So pick a spot on that chessboard. There you are. Now imagine that you are just seeing the world from that one perspective. But imagine how many perspectives there are. So if you were to think a little bit differently, you could move your chess piece to a new position and have a whole nother life. So if you think about quantum physics, you're actually, the potentiality of Bizzy is actually all those pieces on the board. And
Makes sense.
actually, we kind of think that that's happening, that we're having all those stories. So which one are you going to pick today? It's so fun. So, like, honestly, think about it like that. Think of life more as a game.
It truly is. It truly is. And I think we envision things for our future and then they come true. And why is that, right?
Well, the thing is, we call it magic, but it's just literally playing with energy. We are just energy. So think about energy. Can you really contain it?
No.
So we're trying to control it so much. And we're learning now with all the light on the planet that it's not really controllable. I mean, we're just seeing chaos, right? It's like, whoa, what is going on here? But this is how it is, because in reality, if everyone's co-creating their reality and they're all creating it from their own belief systems, what are we really seeing? Right. So I think it's one thing to understand these concepts, but you have to practice them. And we're here on earth to practice. And eventually we're in a point right now where we need to grow really fast in our consciousness, in our what we see. We need to do this very quickly so that we can help make the shift that the earth is about to make. And I think we have a choice now. Do we want to stay in the old world and the way it was and what we know? And it's easier in a way, but it's not really what we're meant to do. Anyone listening, we're all meant to take that leap right now. And we can do it, and we can help each other. And I think through, like, putting a hand out for somebody, holding a hand out, being a loving, like you are, Bizzy, really being a loving, caring person, caring, showing that we can care and it does matter, that's huge.
It's so true. But why do so many people, I know you said earlier, it's hard. Like, we've used that. So many people use this word hard, like
It
when they
doesn't
want,
have to be hard, but we've been
right? It's
programmed that it's hard. So if you believe it's hard, it's going to even be harder.
right.
You have
Right.
to change that belief. And one of the things we do when we learn how to reprogram, which is so powerful, is we learn that we have to use the word easy. Everything can be easy, actually. It's another thought, right? Easy is just another place on the chessboard. So imagine one's hard and one's easy. You get to choose. But
See,
yeah,
and I see, and I love, and I was just talking to somebody this morning who keeps looking back at their old life, right? They constantly, and in the Bible, it even says, like, do not look back, because there's you can never go back. There's no, you can't go backwards.
and the thing is, why would we want to go back? Because the point is, we have learned something already. Like, you don't need to keep learning it unless you haven't learned it. Then you're going to go back. So it's not wrong to go think of what happened to you in the sense that you're digesting it, because we do have to digest our stories. So when the people are constantly going back, I know that they need to digest something that has happened, and maybe they haven't emotionally let go. They're holding on to anger or something from that storyline. So it's not bad to go back, but to get stuck there, you're going to not be in a creator mode anymore, right? It's one thing. So we have two energies on earth. We have the one where we go out and it's called yang. We get all excited about creating something new. We go do it. But to be a creator and to really have that power, you have to be in the present moment. So if you choose that there's some storyline that you keep going back to, you're not going to be in a creator seat at that moment. You're going to be what we call in the yin, the digestion. So it's not a judgment. It's just more like that's where the person is. But what will happen is they're going to get really bored of that, because nobody feels happy after a while being stuck in the past, really. So because they get depressed, that's what happens when you're in the past all the time. You're going over it. You're not creating. So we're meant to be creating and going back into yang. And if you're not, then you're like, oh, I'm like, life's so boring. I hate my job. I'm like, and then you get sick of it. And then eventually you're so sick of it, you will make the shift to something new. And so, but there are also people busy that are constantly worried about the future, and they're worried. And that's also not a very powerful position to create your reality from, because when you're in the future, you have no power. It's like you're just worrying and you're not in this present moment. And this present moment is where we get the power to change our reality. See, you can't change chess pieces in the past and the future, only now.
It's so true, but so many people are spinning, right?
Well, that's okay, because that's what they're meant to do right now, because we are in this awakening. So it's not an easy process, but just think about how special it is that you're here, all of you in 2025, experiencing this awakening. All things are going to change. Everything's going to be different for the better, even though we don't think it right now. It looks like utter craziness. But it's like I explain in the book, it's like you take the sandcastle and you say, oh, it's falling apart. I have two options. I can just try to fix it, or I can just clomp it down and start all over. Well, guess what? It's getting hard to fix. The holes, right? It's getting really hard to fix the sandcastle. So that's the old system. It's not working. So for me, like training all these health coaches, I'm like, okay, we're going to train holistically now, because you guys have got to be the voice to go into this healthcare system to help these doctors to be able to help people create healthy, well lives, because people want to feel good. They're sick of feeling sick.
And I don't think any of these medications that these doctors are giving anybody, like they're not telling them, okay, this is, if you go and you take this, it's going to take you here, right?
Well, medicine can be a lifesaver if you're in the emergency room, right? If something's really, and it can be okay, but the way we've gotten used to them for chronic illnesses, it's just not treating a lot of times the root cause. So the root cause of our suffering and their dis-ease is multidimensional, and they're giving you medicines for the physical level just to alleviate symptoms a lot of times. And they're toxic. So they don't tell you about the toxicity, but every drug has to go through an LD level in a mice it has to kill a mouse. I mean, so at a certain point, every drug you take will kill you if you take enough of it, because that's why it's called a drug. So we're taking something that could potentially kill us to kind of force the body to rebalance. And sometimes it rebalances it, but most of the time it just alleviates the symptoms, and the people end up, their livers get a little bit overwhelmed with all the toxicity of the drug itself on chronic. I mean, I once had somebody, well, I was shocked. They walked down the stairs with like a bag of medicines. I think they were on 15 chronic medicines. I couldn't believe it, but they believed it. So in a way you could say, okay, if you believe in those medicines, they're going to help you. I believe that too, because the mind is so powerful. So we were in a system, and this is what happened to the system. And we can't, like, we've been part of it. So we can't point the finger and say, oh, you're bad, you're bad. No, look, guys, we're at a point. All the old systems are crumbling. So what do? We have to say, okay, Let's think about how we want to build this over and not judge everybody, but kind of like say, okay, if we come from a loving place, which is acceptance, where could we build now? What could
Mm.
we do now? And that's the beautiful part. Like, imagine a world where you went to a wellness center and it was paid for. You got everything you needed to be well. That's just a whole different thought. That's another place on the chessboard.
Isn't that amazing? There's one really close to here, and I can't remember the name of it. It's here in South Florida. It's a wellness institute, but it's expensive. So some people are like, I don't want to pay. And people are looking at like, all right,
Yeah, but
I'm going to
right now
go.
we're having a financial crash in a way of our system. So people don't realize that either, that the old financial system's not serving us. So it's not just the healthcare, it's every system. That's why it's so chaotic. But that those systems have to fall for us to say, okay, how could we do the money thing better? Money's just energy. And we started just bartering and trading services, true? And why couldn't we just trade services again in another way? I mean, it doesn't have to be as complicated as it is right now. Sometimes I'm thinking, oh my goodness, all these tax things and all this stuff, it's so complicated. And what's really happening? I think that people want to know now. They're asking questions.
For the first time.
Yes.
And this, like, I'm not going to get political, but with like Elon Musk going and saying, okay, why are we spending all this money for transgender mice in some place nobody's even heard of? I mean, it's just crazy. It's like we're finally.
Definitely asking questions finally. And the thing is, it's very important not to judge anything right now because we do not have the whole story. So I think if we get over like there is one right way, we have to stop that. We have to start. What is love? Love is not judgment. Love is literally, okay, I want to hear your side. Why can't we just hear each other? We're constantly fighting. It's not helping. So let's get together and make this world a better place. We all have to agree that we're all okay. We're all doing our best. We just see things from another perspective. So in order for this world to get better, I need to understand your perspective.
Why was it in like the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s? You were allowed to have different opinions and it didn't matter. You were still friends with everybody. And when did it get to this cantankerous kind of world we're living in?
Well, a lot is happening because of what we're kind of programmed in a way. We are, you know, are we listening to news or are we listening to gossip? I mean, what are we listening to every day? Like the minute I tune into news, I'm sorry, my energy goes way down. So I'm not saying we don't need to know what's going on in the world, but do we need to know right now? Do we need to be busy with all of that? Like how many hours a day? I think if we're creators and we want to create our reality, start to be choosy about where you're going to put your energy. What are you going to, if more people just listened to wonderful music or when dancing or laughed with their friends or, or wrote a book or whatever you want to do, but have fun doing it. Your energy is going to be a lot higher than when you're tuned into all this negativity that's not going to change. Your life is not going to change based on anything usually. I mean, yeah, some things, yes. But usually when you're listening to all that news, most of it doesn't even affect you. Not
It's so if somebody's listening today and we were to give them one tip, so they're in this and they feel as though they're stuck, right? And their life is so hard.
mm-hmm.
It's so hard. I always say hard is pushing a boulder up a mountain to
Yeah.
feed your children water, clean water. That would be hard. I think that would be really hard. I mean, I'm not
I'm
that
not going
strong.
to say it doesn't feel hard because this energy on earth is very thick and dense. It is. I think pat yourself in the back. You're here and you came to earth and you're doing it. And it is wild here. I mean, let's be real. This is not an easy path. So I would say, okay, I am amazing that I'm doing it, that I came to earth to experience the heaviness. So what could make my life lighter? I would say start with that question.
Oh my God.
Maybe just moving your light, maybe just moving your body. maybe just get out of the chair and say, I'm going to go for a walk and sit next to a tree and just be with that tree. That sounds crazy, doesn't it? I think nature can heal us.
Oh, I agree 110%.
Yeah,
was just,
when I was having my hard times, I would do that. I would go in nature and just walk. And I would just sit, sometimes for hours. It was great. I felt so different. So I think try that first. But I don't even like to give advice. You know me.
I know. Did you bring your cell phone though? No.
No, I mean, I just don't like to give advice. I like people to figure it out themselves. So I would rather have them reflect on what would bring you more light and more happiness in your life.
And do you know what I've realized recently is there's so much noise.
Yeah.
There's so much noise.
Yeah. And thing is, what are you going to listen? Like, we have chakras also here. And so many people are having ear problems and throat problems and sinus problems. And all our senses right now are so overwhelmed with everything we're taking in that no wonder they're just burned out. They're getting burned out. Our eyes are. So when you have a problem, a health problem in this area of all even your touch, but your skin, but definitely all this, you have to ask questions to yourself. Like if you're having trouble with your ears, like, what is it that I am having trouble hearing? What is it that I'm having trouble seeing? Because it's hard to see what's happening right now. What is it that I'm having trouble saying from here? And all our senses are there for a reason. And right now they're overwhelmed. So give yourself a pat, a lot of love. It's very important every day to just spend time with you.
To spend time with us.
Yeah.
And so when do you think your healing course is going to be available? I have to throw this out there to the world because I'm like so excited about it.
Oh. And it's going to be really a very quick way to learn self-healing techniques.
I can't wait. I really can't wait.
We need it, right? We need to and it's not hard. That's not hard. You'll be amazed what you guys can do. I mean, but we just need teachers now to be willing to tell these stories. See, I find it interesting. Remember what I said about intellectual intelligence before? Mm-hmm. IQ. That was the big thing when I was a child. What is your IQ? Oh my gosh. And no, really, my father was a PhD and then he had us all, we had to get our IQ level and all this. And then EQ came. They were like, EQ, emotional intelligence. Oh my God, EQ. And now it's S, spiritual intelligence, SI. Okay, so what does that mean? What is spiritual intelligence? That's the new question. See,
and what is it? And what is it?
It's learning what we're going to be talking about in that course, because we need to know that we are spiritual beings having a temporary human experience and that we have to make every moment special.
And not so heavy.
No, because we don't have to. But we have to learn. We're here to learn about love, and we're here to learn about being authentic, and we're here to learn how amazing we all are. But it is a process.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It's been such a pleasure. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. I can't wait. I'm getting her book and I'm going to tell you guys all about it. Can you believe I haven't gotten it yet? And I have gone over to Amsterdam and I met Cathleen in real life and it was so fun. It was amazing. I can't wait to come back. I'm coming back.
Oh yeah. And I'm going to come visit you in Florida, I promise, because I love Florida. It's so beautiful. And I think I really want to say this to your audience, how special it is that you do your work and you open your heart for all the people and all their issues. And, that's so important. If more people did that, the world would be a real better place.
So true. Thank you so much. You guys, thanks for listening. Please subscribe to my channel and know this, you are not alone. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. Thanks for listening to Conversations with Bizzy. I hope you enjoyed today's show. If you did, if you could subscribe, that would mean the world to me. And follow me on all social media. And you can also get my newsletter every Friday morning into your inbox. Just go to elizabethchance.com and subscribe. Take care.